This is a class that I gave for the Piano Technicians Convention in Anaheim, August 2022. And it basically shows all the tools that I use in everyday carry. This is my kit opened up where you can see all the tools inside, and it's a little bit heavy, but I'm a pretty big guy. And I also have a carrier, a dolly that I can put it on if I'm going a long distance. But it's manageable for me, and it's the stuff that I've used over years and years, and I've honed it down to the bare minimum, and this is what I have. Even though there's a lot of tools, I can do almost anything with this kit. This shows the kit closed, and it's just a Harbor Freight kit. Costs about 25 bucks. They're pretty cheap, so every 2 or 3 years, I buy a new one. You can see that I put 2 extra hinges on it. What I did was just take 2 off of an old kit I was discarding, put those on so it's much stronger, and it seems to work a lot better. Now this is the first tool in the kit. It's a string lifter. I've got a video on how to make this and how to use this. These are the 2 pairs of scissors that I use. The bottom one are felt scissors, and they're actually hair cutting scissors that I bought, and they're about $300. The upper one are just common scissors I use for paper or whatnot, but do not use your felt scissors on anything but felt. The top pair of needle nose pliers I actually use quite a bit. Sometimes I'll cut wire with that one also. The next pair are my duckbill pliers, and I have a video especially for the duckbill pliers because they're modified. They're not square on the top, they're rounded. I do a lot of damper work and other stuff with this pair. The bottom pair is simply a small pair of pliers, and they're smooth inside so that I can put springs in, and when I release it, it doesn't grab the springs. So upright springs I'm talking about, put those in. This is what I carry in my kit to do center pin, but I have an extractor, some flush cutting pliers, micrometer, and then a friend made me this center pin carrying kit. It has all the sizes of center pins in it. It's nice to carry in my regular kit. Now this is self-explanatory. I have a butane lighter, which I use to bend shanks, either in an upright or in a grand. I have a little saw, a screwdriver, and a nice flashlight. I always carry that. It has a magnet on the bottom so I can attach it to the plate, and no matter where I am, if I don't have light, I can tune the piano. This is my voicing block, and then it also has a multi-needler tool with 12 little needles in it. A single needle voicer from Jürgen Göring in Pianoforte Supply, which I use a lot through the strings. This is a long screwdriver I got from Yamaha years ago, which I use all the time. It's a Phillips. And then I have a stick, I just call it a stick, and I've got a video on the stick of how to use it. I do let off in an upright or in a grand with the stick. I can also bump keys so I can square them, bumping the center, the balance rail pin just a little bit. And there's other uses for that. I also use it as a leveling stick, even though to the right of that, I have a leveling stick from Yamaha, which I use most of the time leveling keys. It'll cover about 1/3 of the keyboard, and that's really all you need in the home. Next is a hammer remover for grands, a damper hook, which Steinway calls it a damper hook, a damper adjusting tool, a little flashlight with a flexible tip that I stick right down in uprights in different places. I can see everything very well, and then a gram gauge, and this is my preferred gram gauge. I have a Starrett, a real expensive Starrett, but this one here I like a lot better. It's just much simpler, and it seems to be even more accurate for what I do. Next are some touch-up pens, a pencil, a string bending tool, which I have a video on about how to prep strings properly, and then a crescent wrench. Now these are the only 2 tools that I use most of the time to clean a grand piano. It's a simple tool that goes under the soundboard between the strings, and then a paintbrush. And make sure you get horsehair, real horsehair. Now that brush is about 5 or 6 years old and doesn't wear very much, but if you use the cheap brushes, they shed, they get all over the place. The phone you see there is what I use. It's an old phone that I didn't turn in or didn't sell or anything, so I use that for my tuning device. Right now I'm using TuneLab, and we can talk about that later, but I use all kinds of apps, but that's the one I'm using right now. But I tune mostly by ear, maybe 10% by machine to give me my bearings, and then I do it mostly by ear anyway. And then my tuning lever, I love the ball tip because no matter where I move my hand, it's my wrist is straight, and I had both wrists done with carpal tunnel, and this is something that's really helped me avoid stretching my wrist like that when you use a straight handle. And then that's a lid prop on the upper left there. It's something that I use with uprights. These are all the liquids that I use for normal carry. I have VS Pro Felt, I have CLP, Protect Cleaner Lubricant and Protectant, and I have B72, which I use a lot in voicing now. Then at the bottom I have some Hammer Max, which for some pianos I need to put a lot of juice in it. That works really well. It doesn't stink. I don't really know what's in it, but you can buy it in the supply houses. It's really good. Now the one that says Elmer's Glue is not Elmer's Glue. It's Titebond 3. And the last thing, the little bottle you see there at the bottom right, is simply a little bottle of super glue. And you buy them at the dollar store, 2 for $1. And it's real easy to carry all that. And I've got it in a little box that was made for my micrometer. And I just carry it everywhere I go, and I've never had a leak. This box is my junk box. It's just got extra parts in it. You can see there's some ivories in there and just miscellaneous things. I don't want to go through what's in there, but it's just a little junk box I throw in. And as I remember things, screws, and I've got a little lighter in there and a few things. I just put things in that little box and carry it with me all the time. My punchings I carry in this little round gizmo, and it fits right in. It's really all I need. I can do a whole piano of balancing or leveling, the keys with this little box here. So I can straighten it out. I can do lots of stuff. And I do carry some different sizes of felt punchings in there in case the balance rail is too high and I need to lower a key. The key, that is too high, and I need to lower that key. And there's no punchings underneath, which there should be. But I can take a smaller punching, replace the bigger punching, the cloth that is punching, and lower that key down. I've got drill bits, and these drill bits actually have something in the bottom that I can put in my combination handle, and I can use them with my combination handle. Also, there's some masking tape. I use masking tape all the time across the piano to mark things, and I can put that on the key up stop rail. And then just a rag. We carry rags around all the time. The file on the left is a mill file, kind of a fine file. I can actually do a whole set of key tops with that file. I just made a handle and stuck it on there myself. And then I've got a rasp in the middle and a little tiny hammer that I carry with me for most purposes. That's the only hammer that I need. On the left is a Kawai key alignment tool. And you can use that on several brands of pianos, but we really can't use those on a Steinway. The next tool is a little bitty crowbar that I use, especially to raise the balance rail on an upright piano when I want to raise everything up, raise the key level. And then the next two tools are square capstan tools. One's a Yamaha tool, one's just a generic you buy. And then the one on the right is the Yamaha coil lifting tool. It's the only one I really like because it can get really close and under because the tip is really small and I can lift the coil up without interfering with the other coils around. Here we have a tuning pin punch. Sometimes you will want to push the tuning pin down just a fraction. I don't believe in putting them clear down to the plate, of course, but sometimes that does help, just even a fraction of an inch. Then the two little weights up there, I can put on a piano and kind of judge quickly, they're quick touch weights, how the touch weight of the piano is. I think one's a 60 and one's a 54. You put that on there, the 60 should push anything down, and it just gives me a quick reference to see if that 60 won't push keys down. I know it's a little heavy for some reason. It might be friction or whatever. At the top right, I have a tool that if you have a loose front rail mortise, you can hit that tool. It will spread them out. Now, it's one that's ruined a lot of pianos, but it's modified. And I'll have a video on that. It's rounded off, so it pushes the key down without cutting anything in. So I've had to file that down. Then I have my little screwdriver, which I use for setting glides, and also the tool right next to it, up in the right there, is another one for doing the glides, setting the glides. I have a combination handle. I have my choice of wire bending pliers, and then I have some really dull dikes that I use. Now, how do I use the dikes? I use those actually in damper work. The wires coming out of the block, sometimes I will pry that out to make the damper go a little bit farther out, and they're really dull, so I can't cut, but I can pry out very well with that. Here's some Teflon Power, some MPL1 from ProTech. The one on the right is a 3M squeegee, it's called, and I'll make a video on that. But you put it around the hammers when you're shaping hammers and pull your sandpaper strip through there, and it really makes the crown even. I use Altoid boxes for lots of things. They're just great little carriers. So I have 2 Altoid boxes, and then I have Scott Jones Crown Voicing Kit, which is a wonderful little kit. Here's the insides of those. The Scott Jones kit is missing one of the bottles. I just use the 2 and the 3X. And then I have some different tools. You probably know what they are if you see them in there. Some razor blades, dip blocks, and different tools, needles, all sorts of little things I need to keep safe and in an Altoid box. Here is a pouch that my lovely wife made for me to put all my tools in. And we don't sell them. It's just something my wife's done, and I'll show you the inside of that. You can see how many tools I can actually fit into this kit. And I just fold this up and I put this in my kit. Now I have another kit identical to this that goes in my spare tool kit. It doesn't have as many tools in it, but I actually have two of these. And now I carry a little kit, which I'll show you later. This is what I carry every day where I go. And it has all my regulation tools in it and a lot of other tools. Now I'm going to take out all the tools and show you each one individually. The top tool is a Renner Aftertouch gauge, and you can't buy those, I don't think. You have to go to Scottsdale to the Renner class, which is a wonderful class. The next one down is a rigid shank screw removing tool, and I use that a lot. The next tool, the wooden little tool, is my jig that I use, that I actually made and I give away. It's got my name on it, but it's 45 inches blow distance, 1/2 inch checking distance. Now that's not 5/8. I've gone to 1/2. That's what Steinway has gone to. Good technicians don't necessarily measure everything. I've been with some great technicians. One of them in Yamaha told me the gauges he uses are his eyes and his fingers. And so once you're at that level, you don't need a lot of gauges, but this is a simple gauge to just help you know whether your blow distance is close to correct. Then a sanding paddle, scale. Try to get the scale in 16ths and not 64ths, because that's really confusing when you get it 64ths. And then just a little blade. Next is a 7/32 bit, which I carry. It has a combination handled bottom that I can use. An acid brush, a string lifting tool. That's just a piece of wire, and I bend it around, and I can lift from the outside of the piano. I'll lift the hammer up the string and hold it there so I can see if it's mated. And then just a simple magnet. These are my regulating screwdrivers and screwdrivers I use in my little kit. One of them, the third one down, is a flange screwdriver. Notice how it's boxed in. That's so you can pull out the jack in an upright piano. It will hold it out. And also notice that I put a little groove in there. That's so I can work with the springs as well. The middle tool is a upright flange spacing tool, and you need to modify that a little bit, and I'll show that in another video. And then I have a 45-degree and a straight damper adjustment or wire bending tools. Here we have some reverse tweezers. The other tweezers are 8-inch tweezers that I use all the time, and notice that I file the ends off so they're a little sharper. It gets under the punchings a little better, and then a pair of forceps, or you can just get little pliers. Next on the top here is the Dale Irwin under the key dip lock. Now I don't use dip locks much anymore. I'll do it in an upright when I can't take off the front rail, the key slip. And I have a video on that. And then I have some other tools in there, just normal tools. The bottom tool I need to explain is the Hart spring tool. And notice that I modified the bottom end of that. The little end is bent and sharpened, and I use that as a capstan tool, just an extra additional way to use that tool. The top tool is for Steinway type capstans. The next one's a Kawai tool. It's a little bit thicker than most of the pointy capstan wrenches. Then I've got a little drop screw regulator. It's a little high, but that one is for uprights. And then the next tool is a regular pointy capstan. That's a Yamaha tool. And then the bottom one with a larger wood handle is actually what I use for drop screws in grands. Now I have a couple files, and then I have this little brass tool. Now that's got a screwdriver bit on one side, and then it's got a drop screw regulator on the other, and I've modified them. If you notice on that little tool, I've thinned out part of it so it fits between the dowel capstans better on the brass tool, and then I've shortened that little screwdriver. That's so that when I'm on top of a grand piano, I don't have to be clear up here trying to regulate. I'm down here, and it's real easy for me to set my wrist and start working the piano. The next tool is a jack separator from in an upright when you want to move the jack out so you can get into the screw. And then the last one, notice that that's a key easing tool, but it's modified. If you buy these from the supply houses, they're going to be stark like that. You need to file it down where it's not as stark, but it goes in much easier. And you won't mess up keys as much with this if you do it this way. These are sandpaper strips, and I got these from Jürgen Göring. I've sanded almost 1,000, I figure 1,000 sets of hammers with these, and they have not worn down. Now the back side of my kit, I have the soundboard steel, and then I have my bills and different things in the back in file folders, and I also have some carbon paper back there. And if you notice at the bottom, those are the sanding strips. That's where I store those. And of course, I have some rags. Now, the cloth there that says Yamaha, those are two of the keyboard covers that my wife sewed together, and I can actually put those out on the keyboard. When I'm filing hammers, all the dust collects on those, and then I can go shake it outside. And then just a normal rag, that's a microfiber cloth. Now, here's my small kit. This is my spare kit. Everything that I have that's important in the big kit, I put in this kit. So when I want to go somewhere and I want to just have something small to carry a long distance, or if I'm traveling and I don't want to carry all my tools and I'm going to go tune grandma's piano, I'll carry this little kit with me. Inside my little kit, I have some of the same tools that I had in the other kit. So I don't need to go through these, but you can see it's got a nice pouch in it and it's got all my tools in there. Some of the tools that I do carry in here are a little bit different than normal. So you've got some specialty tools. I'm not going to name all those. There's just different tools that sometimes I'll need, and I'll put it in that extra kit. And I know where it is, and I always carry it with me when I take my big kit. So if I need to steal something from my small kit, I go in there. Now I have a few more tools here that I want to show you, but I'm not going to name everything in it. And then I have a bin that I carry in the back of my van and a few other things that I carry. So just enjoy the rest of the video, and at some time I might explain all those extra things and special tools that I have there.